The Emotional Vocabulary Series by Roy Duenas. This is the emotion of bitter or bitterness. Why does bitterness linger, and how can we release its hold on our hearts? Explore the emotion of bitterness, its roots, its impact, and how to replace it with peace and growth. Introduction to the emotion of bitterness. Bitterness is an intense and lingering emotion that stems from unresolved anger, disappointment, or resentment over perceived injustices. Unlike fleeting frustration, bitterness embeds itself deeply, shaping thoughts and behaviors in destructive ways. Understanding this emotion is crucial for personal growth, as it allows individuals to confront unresolved feelings, foster forgiveness, and move toward emotional freedom. Including bitterness in our emotional vocabulary enables us to address its root causes and replace it with healing and peace. Definitions. Layman's definition of bitterness. Bitterness is the persistent feeling of anger and resentment toward a situation or person, often tied to past hurts or unmet expectations. Clinical definition of bitterness. Bitterness is a prolonged emotional state characterized by negative feelings and attitudes stemming from unresolved anger, often associated with a sense of injustice or betrayal. Perception and expression in everyday contexts of bitterness. Bitterness manifests as cynicism, withdrawal, or passive-aggressive behaviors. Psychologically, it reflects unmet needs for closure, fairness, or reconciliation. Origins of bitterness. Evolutionary roots of bitterness. Bitterness may have evolved as a psychological response to unresolved conflicts, motivating individuals to seek justice or protect themselves from future harm. Cultural dimensions of bitterness. Cultural norms influence how bitterness is expressed and resolved. Some cultures prioritize forgiveness and reconciliation, while others encourage confrontation to address grievances. Biological mechanisms of bitterness. Bitterness activates the brain's limbic system, which processes emotions like anger and fear. Prolonged bitterness may disrupt dopamine and serotonin regulation, contributing to negative thought patterns. Effects of bitterness. Effects of bitterness in our psyche. Bitterness erodes emotional well-being, fostering negativity, chronic stress, and a sense of hopelessness. Effects of bitterness in our daily life. This emotion influences habits, such as avoiding certain people or situations, and fosters a pessimistic outlook. Effects of bitterness on our family and friends. Bitterness creates barriers to healthy communication and trust, often leading to estranged relationships or ongoing conflict. Effects of bitterness in our workplace. In professional settings, bitterness undermines collaboration, morale, and productivity, often contributing to toxic environments. Effects of bitterness in our freedom. Chronic bitterness can hold your freedom hostage. Here is how. Bitterness limits personal freedom by anchoring individuals in past grievances, preventing them from moving forward. Bitterness, often stemming from unresolved resentment or perceived injustice, can have a profound impact on personal freedom. When individuals harbor bitterness, their emotional and mental space becomes consumed by negative feelings, limiting their capacity to make objective decisions or pursue fulfilling relationships. This emotional baggage can act as a mental prison, restricting the freedom to move forward, take risks, or embrace opportunities with an open heart. The preoccupation with past grievances often fosters a cycle of blame and negativity, preventing individuals from fully engaging in the present or planning for a hopeful future. In addition, on a broader scale, bitterness can affect societal freedom by eroding trust and cooperation within communities. When individuals or groups feel embittered by systemic issues or unresolved conflicts, it can lead to polarization and stagnation, where collaboration and progress are replaced by division and animosity. This collective bitterness can restrict the freedom of society to grow and innovate, as resources and energy are channeled toward conflict resolution rather than constructive endeavors. Overcoming bitterness, both individually and collectively, requires intentional effort toward understanding, forgiveness, and healing, which are crucial for reclaiming the freedom to thrive and evolve through life itself. Examples. Personal story. A person feels bitter after being passed over for a promotion, but later channels that energy into developing new skills and finding a better opportunity. Societal behavior. Groups who feel historically wronged may harbor collective bitterness, influencing political or social movements. Historical event. Post-World War I bitterness in Germany over the Treaty of Versailles contributed to social and political unrest. Challenges and mental health. Chronic bitterness is linked to depression, anxiety, and even physical health issues, as unresolved emotional pain can manifest in stress-related illnesses. It fosters unhealthy coping mechanisms and creates barriers to personal and interpersonal growth. Management and mitigation of bitterness. Strategies. Therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy helps individuals reframe negative thoughts and address unresolved anger. Forgiveness practices. Actively working toward forgiveness of self and of others promotes emotional freedom and healing. Gratitude exercises. Shifting focus to positive aspects of life reduces the intensity of bitterness. Learning to live in gratitude. Resources. Books on forgiveness and emotional healing. Support groups for individuals processing long-term grievances and life plagued with anger and bitterness. Counseling services for managing unresolved anger through anger management therapy sessions. Conclusion. Bitterness is a powerful emotion that, if left unchecked, can poison relationships, mental health, and personal growth. By addressing its roots and embracing forgiveness, individuals can free themselves from its grip and cultivate a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Developing emotional intelligence around bitterness empowers us to transform pain into growth and resentment into resilience. Again, overcoming bitterness, both individually and collectively, requires intentional effort toward understanding, forgiveness, and healing, which are crucial for reclaiming the freedom to thrive and evolve. This was The Emotion of Bitter or Bitterness from the Emotional Vocabulary series by Duenas.